Whoa. What's up, baby? Welcome into Believe in Commanders. And y'all, the Commanders have found another way to win. And Jaden Daniels is absolutely special. The man is magnificent. I mean, you can pile on all the adjectives because he deserves every single one of them, man. He put the team on his back and he won this game. I almost say single-handedly, but definitely short-handed. When you went back and you looked at the amount of injuries that they had on that offense, oh my goodness. You didn't know what was going to happen. The first half was a little squirrely. But man, it finished out strong. Welcome into Believe in Commanders. I'm Anthony Armstrong, the original 1-3. You see it. I had to go and put on this thing is 2 for 2. All right. My jersey hoodie, my jersey sweatshirt is 2 for 2. Two exciting wins. Commanders get a victory 30-24 in overtime over the Atlanta Falcons, y'all, securing their first playoff. Not victory, but playoff position. They're in the playoffs for the first time since 2020. I'm elated. Coming into the season, I was thinking, hey, at best, this team, hey, go out there, win the division. That's what you're trying to do. But at worst, find your way into the playoffs, and they've done exactly that. Jaden Daniels was on fire today. 24 for 36, 227, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was sacked 5 times. I did not like that. Did not like that one bit. I mean, the offensive line was dealing with injuries. Tyler Biadasz was out. Brandon Coleman was having some issues over there. Had a tough matchup. Over there with Matthew Judon and what they had going on. But Jaden, I was taking notes throughout the game, and his accuracy was on display. I mean, you look at some of the passes; they were very purposely put in places on the right inside shoulder and down low. I mean, the pass to Zach Ertz to win the game late. I mean, that was beautiful. The way that people he had to get down and he twisted his body to make that catch. But the accuracy of Jaden Daniels is really showing up. And he put that on display tonight. Back stats wise, Jaden put the team on his back, put the team on his legs, 127 yards rushing, along with 25, 16 carries on the day. B-Rob had 13 for 60. And then you had Chris Rodriguez getting in the end zone, 5 for 16, 1 touchdown. A little bit from Zacchaeus. Jeremy McNichols got some action there as well. 216 total yards on the ground, but it was done mostly with Jaden Daniels' legs. Now, that's different than what we've seen from this offense. We've seen them be able to go back and hand the ball off to Bejan Robinson, so that's going to be something to pay attention to later on down the line. As this season rolls along, obviously you got the game next week against Dallas. You don't need to get that W, but it would feel good to go into the playoffs with a win and, rinse out your mouth from that previous game against Dallas. But heading into the playoffs, man, being able to run the ball and stop the run are going to be key. We'll talk about that here in a second. Wide receiver wise, I think the most glaring thing is Terry McLaurin. 1 catch for 5 yards, 7 total targets. He drew a tough matchup. AJ Terrell, he's a dog. And it took me a little bit to realize, looking through the game, I'm like, man, there's a lot of different players that were out there. So if you were watching, and I know you were tuning in, if you didn't think about this, there's no De'Ami Brown. Obviously, Noah Brown was already out. They were hurting in the receiver position. All right, it's already been a question about who's the wide receiver 2, and it happens by committee. When you're working with eliminated Zacchaeus, had a great game, 8 for 85, 1 touchdown, 9 total targets. That late drop, that right there that's gonna make you sick in the meeting room, because I think he had a good catch and run after that. Obviously, it made the game way more interesting than it needed to be. Got a little bit of extra football up there in Landover. But then Zach Ertz, man, coming through like the wily vet, the OG, 6 for 72, 2 touchdowns, 7 total targets on the day. Crowder was getting active, 3 for 25. But after that, man, it was just, very limited activity from everybody else. And instead of naturally saying we got to find a way to get the ball to Terry Moore, I think when you're looking at this game and you consider the fact that there was no there were very few receivers outside of Terry. You didn't have, just your normal setup. All right. You had Bryson Tremaine was in there. You had KJ Osborne was in there. So guys that were new to the team or hadn't had any or very limited experience getting on the field right now, late in the season, it calls to your depth, and it really calls the coaches to get the most out of their players. And frankly, Jaden Daniels took his game to another level. I mean, I heard the MVP chants later on in this game. And I'm going to say this. You got to put his name in the conversation. Bet Online, that's our sponsor of the show. They've been holding it down for us all season long, all 3 years since I've been doing this show. And I love to be on the winning side of things. It's your world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your online betting, live, in-game, all of that. You have it over there at Bet Online. Use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, get that first deposit as well. Looking at I'm looking at the matchup and the receivers. You know, you're gonna have to get somebody back in there. Somebody's gonna be able to take that pressure off. We were having conversations on Twitter, and we'll have that another episode of the podcast. But let's keep this thing rocking. My friend texted me. They say, "What's your heart rate?" I'm sitting at 96 right now. It was about 115 at the end of the game. Here's the moment where I literally almost, I don't say fainted, but I sure the hell fell over that field goal. I thought they were going to ice him. 2 seconds left in the game. I said, don't ice him, don't ice him. And I said, nah, ice him. And then he didn't ice him. And that kick was right down the pipe. And I'm thinking, okay, he made it. And then, Lordy, it fell short. I fell over on the floor. I think my heart skipped a beat. Yeah, I said, you got a chance. You got a chance once again. Not happy with the drive that Washington had before that. But when they got into that overtime, and really, frankly, in that second half, they made a complete commitment change, a change in how they were going to handle things on offense. They said, Jaden, you're going to do it. We're going to run the ball. You're going to take care of this thing on your own, and we're going to get the victory. Don't get cute with it. And I love that they made that shift. I love that they made that change because really it was like, let's not try to force. Don't try to force anything that's not there. Right, the passing game. Yeah, sure, you had 227 yards passing, but once they had started to once they baited Jaden into that interception, which was a great play. They noticed that, hey, he's going quick to these backside slants. Let's just fake that blitz and drop underneath it. And they made a good interception, but he quickly processed that. And seeing how he was able to just continue to find ways to make plays with his legs, accuracy with his arms throughout the day, Lordy, the kid is good. Defensively, I mean, you got to give love to Michael Penix Jr. Rookie coming in, he had 19 for 35, 223, but the sacks 2 for 12. I would have loved to see some more pressure, but you know what? The pressure showed up late. And Bejan Robinson. Here's what I said about him. I wrote it down in my notes. Bejan Robinson is a smaller Saquon Barkley. Like, from the jump cuts and the speed, he's got the routes out of the backfield, and he's an entire problem. 17 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. Second half, he wasn't getting any action. And I don't know what 2-game stretch that there has been where you've seen defensive performances be vastly different than the first half. I tweeted it out. Somebody broke a table at halftime. I don't know if it was the Hardy Boys, if it was Joe Witt, if it was Bobby Wagner, Dan Quint. Somebody broke a table at half because whatever was said at halftime, the message was received. The defense came out immediately. They were aggressive and just flying to the football, playing the type of football that they are supposed to be playing. And they were able to shut down Bejan Robinson in that second half. Drakelund had a day, 7 for 106. I mean, it would have been loved to have Marshawn Lattimore out there, but you didn't. And I love the fact that you got Mikey Sanders too, he's not going to back down. He's not going to back down. He's a young dog. I started to notice that, hey, in the heat of the moment, you may not notice these things, but watching it from the comfort of your house, you notice that, hey, they start to making the shift of putting people to the left. Penix was doing a lot better throwing it to his left than he was throwing it to his right. So, that's something just to think about if you're able to catch up to those tendencies. Forcing 3 fumbles by the defense. Looking at this defensive performance, I got to give a couple of game balls. Obviously, Jaden gets a game ball, but defensively, Jeremy Chen. Now you're going to say, with the late pass to to Kyle Pitts late. Look, that he played it perfectly. He played it perfectly because that's cover two. Okay, that's cover two. And ideally, you would say you could put it more on the underneath coverage to drop more and try to anticipate him bending behind you on that seam route. Because if you see that route more, and you understand you're in cover two, if it is going to be a seam route, you got to drop up underneath that. So he could have baited Penix, and by 35 is what I'm talking about. Percy Butler, if he drops up underneath and then works his way back out, he can make a play on that ball. But Michael Penix makes a great throw. Kyle Pitts makes a great catch. And hell, Jeremy Chen was there. But the way he was flying around, separating people from the ball, Quan Martin doing the same thing. Quan over there had 2 pass defenses. Jeremy Chen had 2 of them as well. Dorrance Armstrong had a sack late in the game. That ended up being big. Just those 2 sacks on the day. I'm still looking for that consistent, pass rush. Somebody that's going to get there. But, they found a way to hold up. They found a way to hold up and just get another W, man. Get another W. Secure their first playoff victory since first playoff entrance or appearance, I guess. Playoff appearance. There it is. I'm up. I'm tired. I'm excited. I'm tired. I'm excited. Let me look through my stats here, man. Just what I was going through. First quarter, I love the fact that Dan Quint came out and was aggressive and said, you know what, we're going for it on 4th down. He wanted to get up on this team early. He wanted to start some momentum, especially with that interception that was happening as well. I think that was the way to play it. Try to create some confusion and make Michael Penix slow down his processing speed. Teams do it to Jaden Daniels, and then they were able to try to replicate that against Michael Penix. In that second quarter, you saw a lot of overthrows by Penix, and the defense was saved by that. The run defense, man, that's something that you're going to have to get in check. And it's on tape now, but you already know playoffs are coming up. Teams are going to run the ball. Some of the teams that are in the playoffs, there's a big fight for the number 1 seed that's going to be going down as well. So, you've got Saquon Barkley, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs coming up. You've got Josh Jacobs that could be. So there's a lot of running that's going to be out there. Kyron Williams is they're in the Rams are in the playoffs as well. So there's some running game teams that can run the ball that are coming up. So make sure you get that running game locked down. Zach Ertz is coming up clutch, man. The vets are huge right now. Roll through there. Just a lot of physicality. Once the team made the decision, the offense made the decision, just be physical. They're like, don't worry about throwing the rock. We're going to hand the ball off. We're going to get the ball to Jaden Daniels, let him do his thing. That was a big commitment. Got to clean up the penalties. Here's a big one. The holding penalties by Sam Cosmi. This is one of those things. And then once they called it that same thing where it was the jersey pulled him on the back, pulling the D lineman down, they called it on Sam twice. And then they ended up calling on the right tackle against Dorrance Armstrong as well. Whenever you're coming into these matchups, they give you some stats on what these teams are calling, but that's something to pay attention to moving forward. Too many penalties on the day. Not happy with that, but I will say this. At the end of the day, it's a victory. It's a victory, and you get to enjoy your 24-hour victories. And I'll say this. I don't know if I got the credence to do this, but I give you a little bit, give you a half day. All right. Y'all sleep in, enjoy this victory, 30-24. The Commanders survive and they punch their ticket to the playoffs. I'm finna go to bed. Y'all do the same things. Enjoy yourself. Armstrong out. Y'all be good.